Welcome home, y'all. We are here with this week's MiniPod, and I know you all are going to find this relatable because Andrew had the great idea to talk about money, specifically loaning money to family and friends. And when you start making money and you become the person like JJ want to go to prom,
the loaner,
and
the
he
bank.
ain't got money for his tugs, and Renee want to go to the dance and she needs money for her dress and all of those things. We certainly have been through that collectively. So, Andrew, what made you want to talk about this?
No, I came across this clip and I thought it was like quite something to hear a very, 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 very rich woman share this problem that a lot of us common folks also encounter. And I just wanted to see if our audience might relate similarly to how this particular person deals with loaning money
we should
to
say
family
who
members.
it is
Check it out.
before because not everybody knows her. That's my only.
The voice that you're going to hear if you're on the listening side is Melanie Hobson,
Hobson.
Melody,
Yes.
I'm sorry, I say Melanie. You can have a D in your name all day if you're a Melody. Yes. And I'm going to say Melanie.
A lot of people do that. But don't know. Like, we know her, but a lot of people may not actually know her. She's the president of Ariel Investments, which is a huge management and strategic planning firm. But really in finance, she also happens to be married to George Lucas.
George Lucas. Star Wars
fame. So collectively, they are balling. But she's on a few boards. Very rich. She was formerly on the board of Starbucks. But I don't think she's on the board now. And I think she's on the board of the Rockefeller Foundation as well.
I mean, she's a big deal. She's a big deal.
I haven't seen this clip, but
check her out. Check it out. You should. I think you find it interesting.
How, when you become the one person in the family that makes money, how do you maintain relationships with your family?
This would be hours of conversation, but I'm going to give you the highlight reel. For me, I was my mother's retirement plan. She fully expected and believed that, but she put a lot of pressure on me, a lot. We had a young woman who worked at Ariel. Her father was the CEO of a big company. She was a young white woman, and she was like, "You lend your family members money? You take care of your parents?" And we're all like, there are a bunch of black people at the table. We're like, yeah. You have to set boundaries. You have to set very, very clear boundaries. And what I did, which was a bit extreme because it became debilitating to me and it was going to end relationships that I had, was I put, honestly, an accountant between me and my family. And I made it that you can't ever call me for money, but you can call this person. I'm not going to talk to you about this. You have to call Tom. You have to call Tom. You have to call Tom. It was ugly in the beginning. The last thing I tell people all the time is when you make that decision, just understand it's a donation. You're never going to see it again. Whatever I do give, I do not expect back. I never said that to them, but emotionally, that was my way of dealing with when I didn't get it back.
I could relate to that. Well, first of all, the accountant thing, that ain't in my league. I'll be clearly. But Tiff, I don't know about you, but when folks, sort of make up in their mind that you're the one that has the resource, that as the relative, and in my opinion, sort of suspend with the fact that you got 3 kids and you got a family, you got this, you got all that. And it's sort of like, this is what I need. And can you help? And can I just borrow such and such until next week or such and such? I like Melody said, once I gave money, even if it were a quote loan, I made up in my mind immediately it wasn't coming back, because early on, when I really did think people were asking for a loan and they really were next Tuesday gonna pay me back, and then I saw them next week on Saturday and they were buying themselves some kicks, and in my mind I'm now resenting and I got judgment. Now I'm watching your spend. I'm watching all of it, and it wasn't that like I needed the money back so badly. It was just the principle of the matter. Like you said with your whole heart that next week, Tuesday, you were going to do a thing. And it's Saturday and you didn't do that thing. You didn't do the thing you said, but worse, you now taking the money you should be paying me back and buying shoes and this and that. And let's go to, restaurant X, Y, and Z and get brunch. How you going to get brunch? You owe me money, right? So that was... That began to tear at relationships for me. And I'm talking, history forward. And so it was like, Andrew, you got to make one or two decisions. You either are going to say, no, I'm not loaning money. I can't do that. Or you're going to say, if it is a gift, if it's a loan, it's a gift. It is make up in your mind. You are never seeing it again. And that way I can release it right when I release the money. That is gone.
I think that's a good practice. So I didn't know we were going to be talking about this, but just coincidentally, of course, as you know, I'm writing a book and I write extensively about this. So I actually have some data on this. And the challenge with this, Andrew, as you well know as a parent, sometimes you're now put in a position where now you're taking care of parents and you're taking care of children. So you're getting bled by both ends, which puts you in peril. So then the cycle continues. You put your children in a position where they now have to take care of you and their children. And it's like, how do you stop, right? But many of us are doing just that. So in fact, nearly half of all college-educated Black households are taking care of their parents or, putting money back into their family, while just 16% of college-educated white households do the same. And more than a quarter of Black Americans live in multi-generational homes here. So you look at what we're doing and also considering the wealth gap. So I write about that. And it's not just data, but I also write about it through my own personal lens and how I live my life. Look, this is one of the challenging things for me. I am a giver. If I have it, I will give it. And I certainly, I have an immediate family member who I take care of all of her needs as best I can. I don't want her to want for anything. And then outside of that, I get a little frustrated because I made certain choices in life. And I have been a really amazing steward of my own finances. I have budgeted in a way that I have this pot of money to live off of every month. And since one of the comments in our survey was I don't talk about my personal life and tell all my personal business, I'll tell you all a very specific story. Just recently, I had budgeted where I paid for everything. All bills are paid, family's taken care of, grocery money, going out money, everything. And I just had $1,000 surplus. This was just free cash for me to do with whatever. If I wanted to pay for dinner one night, if I wanted to catch the train to New York to meet with my publisher, about just whatever, nothing silly.
Your publisher?
Yeah, or whomever in New York. No, not the guy. I know you're trying to talk about the guy. No, he would be paying for it if I was going to see him. But me, whatever appointments I might have, because I have to go back and forth to New York all the time, which is really expensive. And so just $1,000 free money, that's not allocated anywhere, not even to my going out budget. And just like that, my family hit me. I need $300. Okay, well, that's gone. Another family member. I need $300. Okay, well, now I'm down to $600. Then this family needed something. Well, now I'm down to $500. And it just got whittled and whittled until now I have a $300 surplus for myself. Now, I didn't want for anything. I was well taken care of. But to be honest, I did have a little bit of resentment because I budget my money for that reason. And I do wonder, what are you doing that you're not budgeting your money? And the assumption that you're going to borrow money. And I know I'll never see that money again. And then I also feel like an asshole for asking for the money because, I make, my family can't comprehend but I also live in one of the most expensive cities. So it's not like I'm out here balling. It's like, what I pay in rent might be their mortgage for 6 months, so it might look like I have this surplus of cash, but I have this huge bucket of expenses. And I'm never, the woman who gave me life ain't never, I always want her to not have what she needs, but have what she wants as well. Yeah. So I really appreciate you bringing up this conversation because I don't have kids. And I can't imagine trying to take care of children, but it is exhausting. It's emotionally exhausting. It is financially taxing. Then there's also those random tax bills that come up. Yeah. And so when you have, I think some of the income challenges and blessings that we have, that's another thing. It's hard to explain that to family. You don't understand that I'm paying a lawyer, or if I'm collecting a speaker fee, I'm paying an agent. I'm paying my speaking agent. I'm paying my overall agent. I'm paying the manager. I'm paying an assistant every month.
Bills on bills.
There are things that I budgeted for and I allocated for this. Yeah. And I don't always feel like there's a lot of consideration to that. I mean, I trust when people come to me, they feel bad and they've, gone through all the things. But I also look back like, God damn, like when we were younger, this is why I was trying to tell you, you should do this, like make a different decision. And it didn't happen. And so I don't know. I feel guilty. I have that middle class guilt.
No,
for
I
sure.
feel that. I feel that, and sometimes our friends, family, whatever, sort of make us to feel, sort of shamed or guilted in some way or another, because you remember I gave my last for such and such and such, and I did and I know about those things, so we feel some obligation there. I guess if I could, if something could be different about the dynamic, for me, it will probably be just don't call it a loan if you don't really mean for it.
Don't
to be
bullshit
that.
me and tell me you're gonna pay it back if you're not.
Yeah, it just there's something about that doesn't feel right. Yeah. You feel really taken advantage of and almost like played for stupid. Like, now you damn well know you ain't paid back the last 6 and you ain't about to pay back the 7th. And so don't say it. Stop joshing me. Stop, acting like I was born last night. Because there's something about that just doesn't feel honest toward the relationship. And that's what I would say I sort of missed the most. There was a period in time where I just didn't want to take calls from family, from certain. I knew what it was on the other end, and so I was like, you know what, I need peace today. I just can't get in the middle of it. And then I also got to a stage where, you just need to leave a text or a voicemail with the amount, and then that's done, and this is over. Like, I don't want to have to fake. I don't want to have to fake it with you.
How you been doing?
Don't ask me how I'm doing. How you been?
What's going on? How the kids?
And you don't mean it.
I can always tell with the tone.
Please, I can see from the ring. I know it from the.
Just get to it. Like, what do you want? What
the
do you
moment
need?
The phone vibrates. But I also know that there are people who get out and they are working. They are showing up to their job. They are working their job. They are getting the paycheck from the job. And before they can cash it, it is already spent on the bills and obligations. I know that life all too well. I remember trading, paying, robbing Peter to pay Paul, and then borrowing again, off the Paul money and the surplus, to do this. So I try not to act like I don't know what's going on. I get it. But then I also want on the other side for you to know that just because you saw me on a plane to DC the other day, and then I was in New York, that ain't my person. I'm not out here balling, taking trips every week. I'm not balling.
But even
out.
if it was, it's your business and it's your life, and you get to spend your money.
Right,
but they don't
you've
know.
Cultivated a story.
That's a work trip.
Yes.
Somebody else is footing the bill for that.
But
all they see is the highlight reel and make assumptions.
The highlight reel.
But my point is, even if you see me land on the beach in the Maldives, so I budgeted for that. I worked for that, and I get to do that. So it's this is a sensitive topic. I didn't know we were going to talk about this, but it is making me feel even guilty right now, to be honest. Because I also know it's hard. There are people in my family where, yes, we had the same opportunities, but we had different coping skills with life. We had different goals in life. And so I feel bad that I made certain decisions that other people did not. But what I'm working through is living for myself and choosing my joy, because I can't carry other people's pains. And it pains me when my family, even if their feelings are hurt, it pains me. And so when they ask, it is difficult for me to say, no, actually, I saved this money. I wanted to get my hair done. Johnny Wright cost a pretty penny. It's I wanted to get my hair cut.
I ain't going to put his name out there, but I know how y'all do.
Expensive. Yeah. But it looks like it. But it's I'm paying a lot of money, but I budgeted to be able to pay this money to get my hair done. Or I'm, speaking at this event and they're not paying for hair and makeup. That had to come out of my own pocket. And so I feel like the asshole, and I'm like, damn, you can't pay your phone bill. And I have it, except I want to go use it to get this fancy haircut. And then I feel guilty. And then I feel mad that I feel guilty about it. And then I get resentful that I'm forced to feel all these feelings. Yes. And so I I know what this society has done to our people. I understand the wealth gap. I understand the decisions that our respective families have had to make. I understand what my uncles and different people in my life who have given me money and, just gifted me things for surplus just because I was their niece. But it can be taxing in every possible way. So I'm curious from our viewers, if you guys can, if you are the borrower, what are the circumstances that lead you to ask your auntie, a sister, a cousin for money? Do you pay it back? Do you feel uncomfortable? How do you handle it? And if you are the one who is issuing funds to family, how do you guys handle it? And y'all know I read the comments, but I'm also asking just because I want some guidance for myself as I navigate my own emotions around it. How do y'all deal with it? And I don't never mean this to my parents, for the record. Like, the people give me life. They just get to, do whatever. I don't mind that.
If I got it, you got
always.
it, basically. Is I think this is a charged topic for a lot of us in our community, and we've come by it the hard way because most of us know it so well, which is why we find ourselves so obedient to the request, because at various points in our lives, and God forbid in our future life, we'll ever find ourselves on the side of need. But I will say, if I am ever on the side of need, when I have been on the side of need, I have made it my creed to pay people back. And I like to do it right when I say, and I hope it's the next very, very next week, if it can, because I know the feeling of I'll pay you back and it never
integrity.
Comes. I don't ever want to be on that side.
It's character and integrity. And if I can't, I'm going to acknowledge it at least. I'm going to say, hey.
For sure. Say something.
Right. But just the assumption, that's just
real.
The behavior of men and women, grown adults. This is how that goes. So.
Yeah, that's real. Well, thank y'all for indulging us in this conversation. And thank you, Tiff, for sharing more of your personal life. Although I have to say, I disagree with that comment because I think you are very, very vulnerable and open about what's going on.
Live stream my therapy session next, for freak's sake.
Hey. Well, it's certainly if you're, doing some experimental stuff, you just set that camera up and we'll be the judge of it. Okay. Y'all, thank you for being with us on this MiniPod. I hope you took something from it, and we are still expecting to get something from you. We want to hear your thoughts and reflections on how it is that you negotiate
and
this
share the conversation. Share it with the people who ask you for money and ask them what they think.
And
put it in the family group chat and say, what y'all think about this?
And we kept it brief, so get it in the group chat. Take care, everybody. Welcome home.
Thank you for joining the natives. Intentional with the info on all of the latest. Gillum and Cross connected to the statements that you leave on our socials. Thank you sincerely for the patience. Reason for your choice is clear. We're so grateful. Took the oath to execute roles.
Native Land Pod is a production of iHeart Radio in partnership with Reason Choice Media. For more podcasts from iHeart Radio, visit the iHeart Radio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.